Hello, friends! Do you find yourself doubting your abilities to achieve your dreams? Do you ever think that your dreams are impossible or too big for you to accomplish? Well, today's quote from Napoleon Hill will remind you that if you really want something badly enough, then no dream is too big to be accomplished. You just need to force yourself to take action. Let's dive deeper into this powerful quote by Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill was an American author who in 1937 published one of the best-selling books on success, Think and Grow Rich. It is a self-help book which contains the philosophies of Andrew Carnegie, Thomas Edison, Alexander Graham Bell, John D. Rockefeller, and other rich people of that time. His philosophy has been the bedrock of modern positive thinking movement, and his principles have never ceased to inspire millions of people across the globe. In this video, we are going to discuss one of his famous quotes. A fool with a plan is far better than a genius with no plan. Napoleon Hill said this to show us that even a fool can be successful if he or she plans their actions and executes them efficiently. But a genius will fail if he or she fails to plan their actions. This quote may sound offensive to some people because it degrades the meaning of the word fool, but it carries a very deep message. A fool with a plan is far better than a genius with no plan. Planning is important, but having a genius without a plan is useless. Why do most smart people fail to achieve anything substantial in life? Why do some people remain poor despite being highly educated and gifted? According to Napoleon Hill, this happens because they lack a plan. They lack direction, discipline, and focus. Most of the talented people we see around us remain mediocre simply because they do unknow what they want to do with their talent. On the other hand, some people who are not as smart or talented as others, but who do have a plan, usually end up achieving more than the talented ones. According to statistics, only 3% of the population actually creates their own plan. 97% of the people either follow someone else's plan or make no plan at all. And guess what? 80% of the people who make their own plan actually succeed, while 20% of them fail. And out of those who don't make any plan at all, only 4% of them ever succeed. So the bottom line is that making a plan increases your chances of success by 20 times. Now the question arises, why do most people in the world fail to make a plan? In fact, why do most people fail to achieve their goals? According to Napoleon Hill, there are 6 main reasons why people fail to achieve their goals. No. One is that they don't know exactly what they want. When asked about their goal, most people reply, I want to become rich, or I want to become famous. But they don't know exactly what these things mean. They don't have a clear picture of what being rich or famous would actually mean for them. So before setting out to achieve something, you must first know exactly what you want. Be very clear about your goal. Otherwise, how do you expect to hit the target if you don't even know where the target is? The second reason why people fail to achieve their goals is the lack of a plan. Remember, a fool with a plan is far better than a genius with no plan. If you want to achieve something, you must have a plan. Set deadlines and milestones. Know exactly what steps you need to take and when you need to take them. Without a plan, you are no different than a ship without a rudder. You are bound to be tossed around by the waves and currents of life and eventually get lost at sea. The third reason why people fail to achieve their goals is fear. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of the unknown. These fears hold us back and prevent us from taking action. But we must learn to overcome our fears if we want to achieve anything in life. As the great Helen Keller once said, obstacles are those frightful things you see when you take your eyes off the goal. The fourth reason why people fail to achieve their goals is procrastination. We keep postponing our dreams and keep telling ourselves, I'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow never comes, or we forget all about it until the next year. The funny thing is, when it comes to achieving something bad, we never procrastinate. For example, if someone wrongs us, we don't say, oh, let me think about getting back at them tomorrow. No, we act immediately. So use this trait of human psychology to your advantage. Whenever you feel like procrastinating, ask yourself, if this were a bad thing I had to do, would I be putting it off? If your answer is yes, then stop right there and do what you were planning to do right now. The fifth reason why people fail to achieve their goals is that they don't have the right mindset. If you go through life with a negative attitude, you will never achieve anything. You must cultivate a winner's mindset if you want to become a winner. This means believing in yourself, having a positive attitude, and being willing to learn from your mistakes. And finally, the sixth reason why people fail to achieve their goals is that they don't persist. Give up at the first sign of trouble. Remember, success is not final and failure is not fail. It is the courage to continue that counts. There are countless examples of people who failed many times before they succeeded. Abraham Lincoln, for instance, lost 21 elections before he won the presidency of the United States. He was called the man who lost 21 elections. If he had given up after his first defeat, the course of history would have been very different. So, whatever you do in life, don't quit. Keep trying, even if you fail. As the old Chinese proverb goes, a man who removes mountains begins by carrying away small stones. Remember, my friends, if you want to succeed in life, you must force yourself to take action. A fool with a plan is far better than a genius with no plan. Now, I want to share a story with you that perfectly illustrates this point. There were two frogs who lived in a nearby pond. Both frogs dreamed of traveling to the distant land beyond their pond, but neither of them had ever traveled outside their pond before. One day, one of the frogs decided to travel to the distant land. He made a plan, set a deadline, and forced himself to take action. But the other frog was afraid. What if he couldn't come back? What if he didn't like the outside world? He decided to stay in the pond and live a comfortable, safe life. And so the two frogs went their separate ways. A few months later, the first frog returned from his journey. He told the other frog all about the amazing things he had seen and done. The other frog was filled with regret. He realized that he had missed out on a wonderful adventure by staying in the pond. But it was too late now. He had wasted his chance. So, my friends, don't be like the second frog. Don't waste your talents and opportunities. Make a plan and force yourself to take action. Even if you fail, it's better to have tried and failed than to have never tried at all. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please share it with your friends and family. Thank you for watching.